Hi, everybody. It's Executive Director Sheryl Zimmerer, and I'm coming to you to talk to you about our reopening plans. Woo! Really excited to be talking to you about something that we all have been waiting for a very long time, to get our students back in the building, for those that want to be back in the building. And so really excited to tell you about our plans and what we have in the works. And so I'm going to start by sharing my screen over here and tell you and share a little PowerPoint with you about what we're doing. And so Logos reopening plan. So I love this little bud in the ground, because so much has changed because of the coronavirus that we really had to look at everything all over again and see how we're doing it, and come up with our plans for making sure that as we do everything we do, that we keep our families and our staff safe. So we're really starting as this little bud and coming up through the ground, and look forward to the blossoms and the blooms that are going to happen with all the wonderful education that's occurring at our school. So, but before I do, I wanted to tell you about some exciting news that released today. The Oregon Department of Education locks down information on graduation rates until a certain day, and it released this morning at 6 a.m. So at 6 a.m. today, we found out that Logos Public Charter School has its highest graduation rate in the history of the school at 95%. And we're really excited that to say that. We're really excited about the students and the staff that make up our school, and the parents that work so hard with their children. And so we just, all of you should be giving yourselves a pat on the back and just a woohoo, because it's not just the school, it's everybody together that makes this accomplishment. So well done, well done, well done to all of you. So let's go to why we're even talking about changes and updates and metrics. So a couple of weeks ago, during an Oregon Department of Education webinar, they showed us this slide, and what it was is they were talking about possibly changing the metrics again to more in line with other states. So if you look at the numbers there, they were trying to show that Oregon is actually, their case per 100,000 was low, the numbers to allow for reopening or hybrid. And so they wanted to look at that and maybe more align with the states around them, and look at the numbers and see if that's something they wanted to change. And so that's what they've been doing over the past couple of weeks. So we all know that December 23rd, that Governor Brown came out with a bombshell of announcement that said that the metrics for schools were no longer required, but they were only advisory. So what that meant is schools were to look at what the metrics were and say, okay, let's look at that and decide how we want to interpret and what we can do and what we can't do. She definitely put together a plan that she would love for us to consider if we can reopening our school. She put a goal of February 15th for schools to work on towards reopening. And so if you look on the side of the screen that has the number of version 10, it says October 28th, 2020 at the top right corner of it. That's the old version of the metrics. So you can see that for on-site and distance learning, for that yellow category, it was 50 to 100 cases in a county per 100,000. So Jackson County has about 214,000 people in it. And so really you take any of those numbers and you double it. So that would be for on-site, under 100 cases would be green, 100 to 200 cases roughly would be yellow, 200 to 400 cases would be orange, and then above 400 would be red for a 14-day period. So they've changed that and updated the metrics to kind of more reflect states around them. And they still kept that 50 there as green, but they changed that yellow from 50 to 200. So now we could have up to 400 cases in the county over a 2-week period and still be considered hybrid. And you know, our school is not an on-site school anyway, a full day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 school. So, so really that yellow category is where we're looking for anyway. So they made an orange category, which is where they want you to prioritize elementary education, and that's the 400 to 700 cases per 100,000. 400, 700 cases in the county could keep us in orange. And then above 700 cases roughly is red. And so that's the numbers that you'll see. The county case count for small and medium counties, that second line doesn't apply because we're not a small or medium county, Jackson or Josephine County. So neither of those that line doesn't apply at all. The county positivity rate does apply. And so we're now under these other metrics, but once again, they're advisory metrics. They're not required metrics. So I did want to stop for a second and share the screen of, let me see if I've got it up over here, of our metrics currently. Let me pull them up real quick. Hold on one second. Here they are. All right. Let me get those up for you. Share screen, where is it? There it is. All right. So the metrics currently are now where we're at. Our numbers have come down quite a bit to in the 30s and 40s instead of we were in the 50s to even over 100 for a given day. And so people are excited that the trend seems to be coming down, and people believe that with vaccinations and things like that, hopefully they will come down further. So if you're ever wondering where our numbers are at, this is a form that we put together that's shared amongst all the schools, the district too, to try and make sure that all the schools are in line with what the numbers are currently right now. So that's on our online, and we've posted it before, so we can post that again in our newsletter. So let me go back to our my PowerPoint of our reopening plan and share with you. Let me go back. All right. So we are in the orange about right now this week, and that's only if I think if we got something like 120 more cases this week, we would be in the red again. So we're hovering in that orange red, right now. We've been in the red, but the metrics changed, so it's hard to know where what we've been at if we had the new metrics. We could figure that out, but for the sake of this, we're in the orange and red. So the state of Oregon comes out with the Ready Schools Safe Learners guidance, and that is for schools about all we need to do to keep our people safe. Everything from physical distancing to mask wearing to I don't even know, hand sanitizing. That's all laid out in this. And so what they did is they said, okay, while the metrics are advisory, all these other things, the hand washing, all the things, the mask wearing, that's not advisory. That is still required. And they have some updated things in there that I haven't had a chance to review yet. This just came out. You can see on the date on that is January 19th. And it's 91 pages long. And so my understanding is they have some updated guidance on things like field trips that I haven't seen yet. And so if that changes any of our practices, we'll have to change because it's required under this this state guidance. So the metrics are the only thing that's advisory at this point. And they do want us to look at the metrics in a way of looking at things like whether you're supposed to look at other things besides just the numbers. You're supposed to look at whether it's spreading in the school and things like that to determine whether you should or shouldn't open for classes. So what you're looking at right now is the blueprints. So what we have to do for the state is put together a blueprint of what we're doing in every category, whether we're having people wear masks, whether we're how our cleaning plan is, what our plan is for anything we do. So you can go online, and currently the metrics that are online, or the blueprint that's online right now, you can look, it says the checkoff box at the top is comprehensive distance learning. So this is the blueprints that are currently online because that's what we've been under. We've been under comprehensive distance learning with limited in-person instruction. So that allows for things like our one-on-one teacher meetings and some smaller meetings to be allowed under comprehensive distance learning with limited in-person instruction. And so you will be able to see soon, I'll be putting up the new blueprints by Monday, because Monday we hope to be able to go back into hybrid learning for our elementary. And so if there's ever any question about what we say we're doing, you can go on to our blueprints and see what we're saying. So what is our plan? So what we did is, after the everything became advisory, and under the limited in person, we could have our one-on-one ES meetings for the families that wanted that. Now, once again, families can stay virtual all year long if that's what they're looking for in this. Right now, they feel better about doing it over virtually. That's absolutely okay, and you can do that. But what we did is we started in person for the families that wanted it, teacher meetings. And we did some limited classes. I know there was a class, I think the only limited middle high class was, we had some math concerns about some of our math students needing to see a teacher in person. So I think we did at least one class, math, and maybe one other, started with a very small number of students. We started archery back because that's outside, art club, brain bowl, elementary tutoring, and some things are still virtual. So we wanted to keep things, the availability for people to be able to do virtually if that's what they want, or do in person if that's what they want. And so I meant to do one at a time, but apparently they're all coming in, so here you go. So then starting Monday, we hope to start some of our elementary campus classes, a majority, in person. And so I think Brianne did about 3/4 of her classes in person, and about 1/4 of them virtually, because we have some families that just want virtually, and we have some families that just want in person, and we can't do both at the same time. It's really impossible for a teacher who's teaching a class in the room to then also be trying to pay attention to what's happening on a computer. And so, and because of all the constraints with what we have to do to keep kids safe, we didn't want to try and do both. So if you are a family that wanted in person, and there's some classes that are virtual that you're like, I wanted that to be in person, understand that we have a great number of people that want virtual classes, and they're upset sometimes about the classes that are in person. And so we had to come up with some options in person, some options virtually, and that's what we did for this next quarter. What do they call it? It's not called a quarter, it's called something else. I forget, so forgive me. But we're also doing things like some career experience, industry tours, the garden club will be back, it's outside, and possibly the book club as well. Those numbers are really trying to be small, the book club, so that's something we feel like we could do in person. And then starting February 8th, we wanted to start some opportunities for kids to come in and get some tutoring. We have a lot of students who like to do tutoring through just, hey, click on it and someone's there to help me. And so we don't want to do everything in person and then just say, people who are virtual, you don't have those options. So what we're going to do is do Tuesdays and Thursdays mornings to be in person, and with sign up, so we can keep those numbers and the cohort small. And then the rest of the time will be a virtual tutoring time. So then starting February 22nd, we're polling families, because we are in the middle of a term, and we're not going to just yank things out and say, okay, everybody, you're now in person. And some of those families don't want to be in person, and they've been learning. So we're polling families to see who wants to be in person. And if we have the whole class right now saying, yes, I want to be in person, then hopefully the metrics will be coming down. And February 22nd, we hope to add more middle school classes. And that's if everybody in the class says, yeah, I want to come back in person. We have several classes where people don't want to come back in person, so we'll leave those virtually. And then starting March 15th at the new trimester, we will start high school classes in person. Once again, we don't want to yank the rug out from people and say, okay, you thought you were virtual and you signed up for a time in a class virtually, but now you have to come into the school. We want to provide both those options. So we will be doing full in person at the next trimester, and there will be recordings available for if a student needs to quarantine or if there's a concern about a student being in class. So that would start at the next trimester. So one of the things we want to do is make sure there's always a clear communication about if there's any concerns at the school, if you see something, if you see someone not wearing a mask and you need to let someone know. We want to have this availability for you to make sure that we're always keeping Logos Nation safe. And that's one of the things that they recommend at the state, that there's a anonymous reporting form. So that's what we've done, we've come up with. And so we will post that on our social media, and it'll be in our newsletter, and we share it with our staff so that we are working hard to keep everybody safe. Now that said, I know that as we start mingling some students here at our school, and we do ask that families, you're not going to come in unless it's for a meeting at the teacher and sit in the lobby. You need to drop off for your student and let them come in, because we need to keep our numbers low and not have visitors sitting in our lobby. So, but just please remember as we go forward that there are people that are on every side of every issue, pro and con, and there are people working really hard, whether it's you guys, the parents, or it's the teachers that are working really hard, or even the administration that's working really hard. I know that there are people that want different things. And so please remember that kindness matters. I was talking to one of the administrators, and she was getting a lot of feedback and stress from people who wanted virtual and some who wanted in person. And, and we're trying to do the best we can to open this up slowly, deliberately, safely. And so if you have a concern, absolutely reach out, and you can email me at admin@logoscharter.com. But please give people, unless it's a health and safety thing, some grace as we work through the changes. And we're going to work to give you guys some grace for if there's something that you're looking for, if you're looking for in person, or if you're looking for virtual. We're trying our best to navigate all of those things and keep people safe right now. So with that, I think that is all that I have for you today. Once again, my email is admin@logoscharter.com. You are welcome to email me at any time, and or if you want to set up a phone call or set up a Zoom meeting to have a conversation about something that you have concerns about, we definitely want to help make this as wonderful of an experience for everyone involved that we can. We are excited to be able to have students back in our building and help our families as best as possible. So thank you again for entrusting your students in our care. We take that very seriously, and we want to make sure that you always know how appreciated you are. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a really great day. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. Thanks. Bye.